everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, August 29th, 2021. A week full of big reveals. Can you even believe that Chance and Nina kidnapped Mariah so that they could steal the baby and sell it on the black market to Ian Ward and Sheila Carter? And that Mariah was being held in the secret soundproof room of the Chancellor Mansion all along? That's crazy! That's what happened, right? That's what happened? No, wait. Hang on. I'm getting a message. Oh, it was Stitch in the rental with the candlestick? Oh, all right. Stitch did it? Okay, cool. I mean, that's even better. Oh, we all have so many feelings about this. So many feelings. Well, here's mine. I feel that this story could have been good. It wasn't. But it could have been. All of the threads were there. They just weren't stitched together properly. See, here's the thing. Stitch kidnapping Mariah could have made sense. It could have been relevant. Because his son was the reason that Abby miscarried their baby and had the uterine scarring that made her need Mariah to become a surrogate. Whoever came up with that tie-in did a really good job. That was a clever way to connect something from the past that was happening currently on the show. And on top of that, psychological problems kind of run in Stitch's family, right? His sister, Kelly Andrews, had, shall we say, issues? So, haunted by guilt, Stitch creates the crisis to become the hero, to win Abby back, to restore his life while Chance is out of the way. I get it. You know, I see where it was all rooted. I just wish that I would have gotten it all along so that I could have appreciated the concept. I wish that we wouldn't have spent so much time lying dead in the water, swirling around theories about who the kidnapper could have been, when Y&R could have just been transparent about it and dug deep into Stitch's psyche to help us understand why he was doing what he was doing. Like, go into the twisted mind of Stitch. Sean Kerrigan was excellent. When given the dialogue and given the material, he was excellent. His eyes, his face, his voice. When he said, "I'm out of my head," I was riveted by him. He drew me in. I wish I had more of that. I want to know Dark Ben, void of hope, desperately clinging to his past before things went vaguely and inexplicably wrong somehow in his new life after he left Genoa City. Sean Kerrigan's totally interesting. I heard he's a comedian too, and that's always been a point of interest to me. He's 47 years old. He looks 10 years younger than that. I mean, he's a super hot guy. I think Y&R could have hit all of their same plot points. I think they could have still done anything and everything they wanted to do plot-wise while letting the viewers get to know Stitch again, instead of making us wonder who did it and having all of this dead air space. I mean, I would have been entertained to watch Stitch do it, and that would have helped me understand even more, even deeper, why he did it. Who is this man? Like, this whole story could have been good all along the way. Not just good 1 week out of 8. I mean, they could have packed and portioned all of this action out along the 8 weeks instead of just cramming it into 1 week full of action. It was almost like Y&R was not convinced of their own story. And in retrospect, I don't think there's anything wrong with this story. I think if it would have been consistent all along the way, it would have been good. All of the action, all of the clues came in the span of 1 week's time, with seven, eight other weeks of just nothing. All of the action happened this week. And here's how it all went down. Stitch tells the family that he recognizes one of Mariah's pregnancy protein bars. Ooh, are these pumpkin spice? I hear Mariah loves pumpkin spice. Stitch tells Abby that he saw a guy buying a whole case of these things at the convenience store, and this guy didn't even look like the kind of guy who should be buying pregnancy bars. This guy was old and skeevy, like a kidnapper would be. Not sexy and buff and a doctor like he is. Stitch's life turned real bad, but he's still got plenty of time to work out. Well, Abby was so thrilled to have any break in the case, any clue, that she right then and there hailed Stitch a hero. And that was the moment where Stitch's motive was revealed. Abby calls Ray with the hot tip, but Devon starts to question why Stitch would even be at that convenience store in a different part of town, and you could see Stitch starting to sweat. The best excuse that he could come up with was, I was at the duck pond. The duck pond? Give me a break. This guy was ready to quack under pressure. We need someone to quack this case. The duck pond. I was just feeding the ducks. Okay. Oh. Well, Ray and Kevin find the security footage from the convenience store. They figure out that Stitch's timeline doesn't even add up. He never would have been able to see what the skeevy old man was putting into his shopping basket. That's it! Stitch is the kidnapper. Back at the mansion, Devon tells Abby his suspicions about Stitch. And of course, she doesn't want to believe it. This is her ex-husband. She's been leaning on him. He's a great guy. Everybody thinks so. But she also can't deny that Stitch showed up in town right before Mariah went missing, and that he's been seeming maybe a little too supportive in the absence of her husband. So Victor and Devon started working together, tag teaming with their investigators to get more info, and they decide that they're gonna go be men and confront Stitch like men do. No, no, little lady, you stay here. Let the men handle this. And Abby said, okay. Goodbye. Bye. Thanks so much, guys. You go ahead and be men and do what men do. I'll just be waiting here. And then immediately, as soon as they left, the girl turned around and decided to take matters into her own hands. She called Stitch over to the mansion and she started pouring her heart out. She wanted him to see her fear, to see her pain, and she was hoping that that would be enough to lure him into a confession. And she did get him to admit that his life had gone downhill since their marriage ended, and that he had a, let's call it, crazy feeling that she could somehow be the one to offer him his redemption. You know, since Stitch and Abby had a bond, even though their marriage was relatively short, and we haven't seen him in 4 years or heard of him in 4 years, but they always had a bond, you know. That famous Stitch and Abby bond. Well, she tells him that she knows him and that she can sense that there is guilt in him. All is forgiven. So just please, Ben, please, tell me where they are. Meanwhile, Devon and Victor and Ray all came together to compare notes, and we find out that not only did Stitch lie about the grocery store incident, but he lied about his last job too. He was fired from it. Can you imagine? Fired from a job. Ugh, this guy. Forget the search warrant. Let's just jimmy our way into his hotel room at the Grand Phoenix. Well, guess what? Devon calls Mariah's phone and it rings from inside of Stitch's duffel bag. Right there. Proof positive. Ian Ward kidnapped Mariah with the help of Nina Chance and Sheila Carter. No, wait a minute. No, it was Stitch. Definitely Stitch. I keep forgetting. I have to check myself. I have to remember to check myself. Well, back in the cage, Mariah takes a couple of bites of her pink pregnancy protein bar and gets a pregnancy pang, followed by the realization that she's going into labor and she's going to have to give birth all alone in that tiny little pumpkin room. I'll tell you, Cameron Grimes really sold me on the anxiety. She really sold me on the fear. On top of the labor pains, I mean, she looked like she was really going through it. And I'll tell you, when I was pregnant, it never occurred to me for even a flicker of a moment that there could even be a tiny possibility that I would have to deliver my own baby. Who would ever think to prepare for that? How would you even know what to do? But Mariah has no choice. So she starts preparation for delivering her own baby. Clean towels, hot water, hope, and a prayer. Add to that Sharon and Tessa's prayer, sending love and good vibes and psychic energy straight through the wood paneling of that hostage room. Ooh, dire. And just as things were starting to look their most dire for Mariah, back at the mansion, Stitch was actually starting to try to deny what Abby had just accused him of. And there was this moment when, if it hadn't been for the fact that Mariah's phone was ringing inside of Stitch's duffel bag, I would have believed him. I wanted to believe him. And so did Abby. But she didn't anymore. She pressed on. She was trying to get him to admit it, and he did. He started to admit that things had just gotten too far. He did it But now he doesn't even know what he was thinking when he did it. He just wanted to find something that could give him a shred of hope that his miserable life could somehow be turned around. And he thought that Abby was the answer. And Abby tells him that she will be the answer. She can still help him. She promises that she will even help him clean up this mess. She won't hold anything against him. So he agrees to lead Abby to the room where Mariah is being held at the rental. And Stitch just briefly sees Abby and Mariah being reunited before he slips off into the mist. Will he ever be caught? I kind of don't think so. I kind of think it's just dunzo for old Stitch. Will Abby help the police with their investigation? Now she's kind of stuck in a weird spot. Will she help the police? Will she hinder their investigation? I mean, Abby must have trusted Ben. She let him take her to a house when she had no phone on her. Nobody knew where she had gone. And she walked right into the room where Mariah has been held hostage for weeks. And she wasn't worried, or didn't seem worried, that Ben would just slam the door behind her and lock them both in there. So there was a trust there for some reason. It's an enormous amount of trust, too. And in turn, I thought it was interesting that she did not breathe his name to anyone. She did not mention his confession yet. I think she will. Maybe she was just trying to save Mariah any additional stress. Devon's private investigator had found the address of the rental house, rented under Stitch's birth name, by the way, not under the name Ben Rayburn. I wonder if Abby Rayburn knew that her husband had changed his name. Devon and Ray rush in. Ray scoots off to chase Ben, and Devon uses his slow jazz voice to step in and assist as Abby delivers her son while wearing her baby boy blue dress, with Nate video conferencing in for the birth. Mariah is triumphant, and unto this trio a child is born. Everyone is safe, everyone is sound, everyone is happy. Are you happy, Y&R Chatters? Are you happy? You tell me, was this a good ending? That's our poll question for the week at yrchat.com. If you have not already weighed in, or if you're dying to weigh in again, go to yrchat.com, vote in the poll, leave me some comments, tell me what you think about how all of this wrapped up, the storyline as a whole. Let's take a bird's eye view of it. The important thing to me is that it is wrapped up now. I mean, was it a good ending? Well, it was an ending. It was an ending. And I have to say, I am just grateful for that. Billy tells Lily that his big discovery in all of his investigative digging is that Ashland used to date a notably older woman. And Victor's PI uncovered a similar piece of info, adding that Ashland apparently bought this older woman's companies to start his media empire right after she died. So Are you telling me that this is all leading up to Ashland trying to kill Victoria for her assets? Fine. Fine. Freaking fine. I'll go with it. But I want you to all just know that I am screaming on the inside. All of the things that bothered me about the Mariah storyline bother me about this. If you are holding out for any other kind of twist other than the obvious, then just stop right now. You're only going to torture yourself. But for the sake of staying positive, I'll just go ahead and wipe my brain of anything and everything that came before this week. All right, Ashland's a black widower. Got it. Just tell me how much longer we have to wait to see Nick and Billy and Victor rush in to help Victoria give birth. Rescue Victoria from the Loch Ness Monster. Let's see. 2 weeks ago was when Victor finally woke up and started questioning Ashland after we've all been questioning Ashland for 6 weeks. Victor woke up 2 weeks ago. And if we're working on that famous 6-week script for soaps timeline, then does that mean we got 4 weeks left? Fine, I can just hang on for 4 more weeks. Ashland mentioned that the merger will be complete in 1 month. And that just seems so far away. And the wedding's even further away. The wedding date's October 15th. It's August 29th? We gotta wait all the way to October 15th? The suspicion level around Ashland is higher than his twin towers. Victor again gives Adam a warning that he had better not do anything to interfere with the Newman-Locke merger deal, which makes me hope that Adam will play a major role within the next month when those ivory towers fall. Or maybe Adam will just be too distracted by Sally's swagger to get any real work done. Ooh, in the previews for next week, Adam asks Sally to accompany him to the Newman Media launch party. Wow! I'm less excited about the Adam and Sally date and more excited about the launch party. Is that really gonna happen? Is there any chance that we're gonna get to see some formal wear? Oh gosh, the fans are going wild for Adam and Sally. But I tell you, I think Nick and Sally would be a much more fun pairing. Sally would have this great opportunity to snatch a different Newman and cause some real trouble for Phyllis in retaliation. Sally sees Phyllis and Jack enjoying a nice summer day in the park. The ladies were wearing sleeveless dresses, and Jack was in his full long-sleeve suit jacket, of course. He had to have been hot under there. But then, of course, Sally bumps into Nick later, and she decides to tell Nick about Phyllis and Jack's park date. She just fed right into the little bit of paranoia that was already there with Nick. And then we saw in next week's previews that Nick is asking Phyllis if he wasn't in the picture, then would Phyllis be interested in a relationship with Jack? Would she get back together with Jack if it weren't for him? So for Sally, Getting into Nick's head would be so easy. I mean, talk about a great way for revenge. Phyllis kicked Sally out of the hotel, then turns around and slaps her with a bill for towel service. So, in retaliation, Sally steals Phyllis's boyfriend. I can just see it all now. I think that would be a revenge worth watching. I just don't want to keep hearing Sally whine about how mean Phyllis is to her. Sally literally said to Adam this week, Phyllis is just mean. She's just mean. Well, you did kind of collude with Tara to get Summer out of town. That's kind of mean too, Sally. Adam encourages Sally to take the high road when it comes to her Genoa City enemies. He says, take the high road, it'll keep them guessing. Well, Sally's plan of taking the high road includes designing Victoria's wedding dress. Now, this part I love. She's Sally Spectra. She needs to be designing something fabulous. And Sally overhears Nikki and Victoria's wedding planning, where Victoria is describing in detail exactly the style of trumpet dress she wants. Sally runs off to the park and starts scribbling down, her ideas, and Chloe later catches her and gives her the third degree about the whole thing. I tell you, I bet Sally wishes she had Lauren for a boss again. Now that she's got Chloe breathing down her neck every second of the day, business and personal. Chloe seems to be second-guessing giving Sally a second chance right this very second. Jesus. Second chances must be earned, like Gloria's. Start the presses. JCV has a new president. Roll out the red carpet for Gloria. Gloria's triumphant leader, just a millennial girl herself, trying to make it in this big world, scrapping by for every gaudy piece of jewelry she has. Did you see Gloria's glimmering gold jacket? The glimmering gold jacket Gloria was wearing when she got her promotion. I mean, that fabric looked like it would have made a lovely pair of drapes. It was so Gloria. So gorgeous. I would love to see Gloria get some more screen time out of this. I think making Gloria the president of JCV could bring some real excitement to the show. I mean, maybe Y&R could do a little quick runway for us, show that older women can have a modern sensibility and that younger women can benefit from an older woman's experience and vision. I mean, it would be like a multi-generational approach for a show who has multi-generational viewers. That Traci Abbott is a well of inspiration and light. Traci turns me to mush every time I see her. Although, again, I couldn't help but notice Traci is in town and Nina is not. Coincidence? Or are they the same person? There's a twist for ya. Oh, Traci is writing a new novel with exactly one target audience in mind, exactly one person in mind, and that's Jack. It's a fictional account of Dina's younger days in Paris, and Jack could not put it down. I thought it was a really clever visual technique to show how engrossed Jack was in the novel and to show how long he had been reading it, to show the passage of time with the changing of Traci's dress. That was lovely. I was half expecting to be swept away into a scene where we saw that young Dina that we saw so much of last year, the younger actress who did some scenes there. I was expecting to be swept away into that to tell us a tale, but I think that this was more meant to show us Jack's heartwarming, giving Jack something good and positive to focus on, and Traci is always good for that. I mean, Jack is sad. His house is empty again. He's frustrated with Billy, which seems very unnecessary to me. I don't need this. Jack's days of sweeping up after Billy needed to be over a long time ago. I'm not into it. I would rather see Jack skip over to Newman Media and pick up his bond with Adam again. Maybe run into Sally and feel all awkward about the fact that Adam and Sally are about to hook up. Aw, I'm so sad that Nate will be stepping down as the spokesperson for Ask MD now. But I'm happy that he recommended Elena to be his replacement for that website that we've never seen and makes no difference and has no bearing on anything. Look, Elena needs a change of scenery. Elena needs to get out of that fluorescent hospital of hell. I felt so bad for her this week. Although I thought she was looking extra beautiful in her scene with Amanda, where she was expressing her exhaustion over all of these double shifts. I mean, she was meant to look tired, but the low makeup look on Elena just made her look stunning. I mean, she couldn't look bad if she tried. I just was really taken with her beauty. I mean, Elena working all of this overtime is so relatable to so many people, especially right now. I mean, how many of us have ever felt overworked? And it just goes on, and it feels like there's no end in sight. And seeing Elena go through that just really made me connect with her character, and it really makes me want to see her succeed. And also to literally succeed Nate in the spokesperson role. Like, I want to see this role for Elena skyrocket her to fame and fortune and a happier tomorrow. Pop quiz, Moses. What is the exact date when I parted my hair on the right, not the left? Your answer, please. I'm waiting. Oh, I like Faith and Moses. She made him work for it, though. That's for sure. Man, she's what you'd call high maintenance. But who could blame her? After all she's been through, and after all she's seen her mother go through, Faith might be wise to be extra cautious when it comes to relationships after all of that. But I like that Moses is a straight shooter. I just think the actor is such a little cutie. I got a really good screenshot this week of his very nice smile. He has very nice teeth. And he's such a nice boy. Like, bad boys get a lot of attention, but nice boys are in a class all their own and should be appreciated. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing more of Faith and Moses, but I think that we need some other peers for them or something to really make it stick. They're way too disconnected from everything else that's going on the show. I think they need some other people to interact with. And I really, especially this week, was thinking that this recast of Faith is very, very good. I like the recast of Faith. I think maybe she needs a best friend or something, somebody she can chat and giggle with. And same for Moses. He needs a buddy. Like, we need a teen scene. Let the teen scene teach us old fogies how the youngsters do it these days. Help keep it fresh and help give Gloria some fresh ideas. Help give Gloria the info she needs so that she can drop her high school undercover mission. A sucking vortex of chaos and destruction. That was last week's Who Said It quote, and that was Chloe's description of Adam Newman. He is a sucking vortex of chaos and destruction. Oh. Tell us how you really feel, Chloe. And congrats to the winners. Nancy, Heather, Daisy, Sandra, Robbie, Jamie, Henry, Deedles, Sam, Julie, Victoria, T. Nicole, Penelope, Jonathan, and TB84. You guys all guessed that right. I didn't think it would be that easy of a quote, but let's see about this one. How about it? This feels like a good quote for this week. I want mutual wallowing. I feel like maybe that's what we're all doing around this Stitch storyline. I want mutual wallowing. That is kind of what I want this week. Mutual wallowing. But who said it? If you think you know, you should go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, I will give you your shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. Well, speaking of our Who Said It quotes, we have a challenge. Henry says, Allie, if I may, I would like to present a challenge to all the chatters. I must toot my own horn. I became the undisputed king of quote when I was the only winner some time ago. No other chatter has done this. What chatter will take my crown? King of quote. I love that. I wish I had a crown for you, Henry. What do you get? You get dubbed or knighted or no, I don't know. Dubbed the king of quote. I lay the imaginary golden crown upon your head. But Jamie says, I accept your challenge, sir. Yes, Jamie's been on a pretty darn good winning streak here too. But boy, Ellen says, what's that famous quote, Henry? Few things are sure in life except death, taxes, and Henry will get the weekly quote correct. I think that's how it goes anyway. Man, yes. I'm just so glad you guys are enjoying those quotes. It's one of my favorite things, my little facets of Y&R Chat too. If you guys ever have any ideas for other games, I want to hear them. Well, how about some overall reactions to our big stories of the week? Ellen says, Willow Street. Famous for the 4-story houses equipped with dumbwaiters so that hot meals can be delivered to the many bedrooms above. I'm so glad that Mariah's stay in the pumpkin room appears to be over. Hooray. Willow Street. Good one. Oh, this is funny from Daisy, too. Daisy says, Paul would have figured it out all right away. Oh, man, that's wishful thinking, isn't it? Like, if Paul was around, maybe we could have got out of this story quicker. I like that. I bet Doug Davidson would love to hear that. Although, I mean, to be perfectly fair, Paul bumbled his way through a lot of cases. Paul didn't get a lot of evidence a lot of times along the way, but yeah, I like the overall idea that Paul could have come in and been the hero here. Oh, well, let's talk about Stitch. Superplex lays out for us a handy guide to Stitch's grand plan. Plan A, Part 1, Kidnap Surrogate Mother. Part 2, Pretend you want help. Part 3, Provide critical information that will lead to the safe return of the surrogate mother. Part 4, Hope that no one takes notice of the obvious holes in your story. Part 5, Joyful Abby will be so impressed by your heroic action that she will fall in love with you once again. Yeah, this is a bright idea. Good, Superplex, that's a good one. And Leslie says, I would feel so bad if I hired a surrogate and my ex kidnapped them. Perhaps future surrogates should check out exes before agreeing. Yeah, that should be part of the screening process, right? You got any crazy exes? Oh, no? Okay, I'll go ahead and have your baby. Oh, well, a lot of people really did have a lot of good compliments about the Stitch character and about the actor who plays him, Sean Kerrigan. GC Buzz says, I have to give credit where it's due. The writers did not make Stitch's motive vengeance or some other stupid reason. The writers appear to have made his motivation mental illness and depression, as opposed to he's crazy or he's bipolar in a Sheila Carter or Sharon kind of way. And Sean Kerrigan delivered a lovely, touching, and vulnerable dynamic performance as a once emotionally strong and confident man brought low by life's hard knocks. He deserves a nomination next year at the Daytime Emmys for Outstanding Guest Performer. I doubt the show will go into his story further, but I would totally be invested in exploring his battle with depression a bit longer. GC Buzz, I think that it would have really been interesting to dig into what Stitch's hard knocks were. I mean, we don't really know all that much still about what happened that really brought him so low, that really brought this on. Of course, we know the Max thing, and that's a big deal, but I could have listened to hear him talk about that some more. I mean, you make a great point that Sean Kerrigan's delivery was lovely, touching, and vulnerable. I mean, he was a man who we always kind of got a sense was strong, and capable, and he was a doctor, and he was a rock. He was one of the nice guys on the show. He was stable, and here we don't really know what happened that changed him. And in similar fashion to what happened with JT. I mean, JT was always a nice guy. He goes off the show, and apparently now he's an abuser. He seemed to have some drug issues, but I mean, there could have been more, I think, to explain the path that got Stitch where he was, and we could have been doing that for the last 8 weeks. That's my gripe about it. I want more Stitch now that I know it. I wasn't at all excited when Y&R brought him back. I didn't feel he was all that dynamic at all, because he was always just kind of the nice, boring, stable doctor. I mean, he was nice. It was nice. It was love and romance mostly between him and Abby. I mean, yes, we had the son and there was all the heartbreak there, but Stitch didn't move me when he was on 4 years ago. He moved me this week. Diana says, I hope Stitch can be redeemed. I didn't care much for his character in the past, as Stitch was very lackluster, making him as exciting as a snail. But Stitch coming back to town and being the troubled, misunderstood guy made his character much more compelling. Yes. Diana goes on to say, the actor's journey on the show doesn't have to end here. We could have a new storyline where we see the good doctor get the help he needs. We know Ben is not a bad person. His intentions were good and not malicious in his mind. I would be invested in seeing Stitch get his life back on track and being given the chance to redeem himself. We said the same thing about JT too. But yeah, I think we know Ben is not a bad person at heart. Obviously this is all the machinations of a twisted mind. We don't really fully know why and how he got there. But the fact that he's not a bad person is what will feed Abby's future conflict. I don't know if Y&R's just going to do a hands clean like they did with Tara. Okay, bye. I don't know how much more they're going to continue to reference Stitch's story. I would wager a guess to say not at all. But it'll be interesting to see how much Abby feels conflicted over it, because it did seem like they were bonding in those scenes at the mansion. I mean, there was a chemistry there between the two actors. I really, even though I didn't feel their bond was all that memorable when he was on a while ago, I felt it this week. I mean, so much time was put into just focusing on those two that I was really feeling their bond. I was really feeling their chemistry, and I think it will be interesting to see how Abby moves forward out of this. She sees that Ben is a good person who has been wounded, yet what he did was real bad. I mean, real bad. Let's flash now over to the pain and the misery that Mariah was in. The fact that he would not only hold her there, but then he disappeared. He disappeared and he left this pregnant woman in there. I mean, it's so awful. What he did was so awful. That baby could have died. Mariah could have died, and he would be responsible for all of that. So I think there's going to be a conflict there for Abby moving forward. Oh, Henry says, given all that has transpired in the Stitch Mariah kidnapping, this would be a good time to have an infomercial on mental illness. Stitch is obviously mentally ill. I'm curious as to what the aftermath will entail now. What will become of Stitch now? What can we expect from his son? Are we finally going to see who will be the new Chance? I love Y&R, Henry says. Okay, well, yeah, I tell you, I just think he's gone. I don't know. This feels like Y&R went, we got to wrap this up. Let's do it. Let's move on. So I feel like they know they spent too much time in this story, and now they're just going to dump Stitch and move on with whatever the main focus will be for the main characters, Devon, Mariah, Abby. As for, are we going to finally see who will be the new Chance? That's a really good question. I am very surprised that none of this led back around to Chance. I thought for sure Y&R was going to resolve the Chance thing when they resolved the kidnapping thing, but they did not. We still have the issue, my God, we still have the issue of Ghost Chance hanging around all of this. When are they going to deal with that? I mean, great, thanks so much for dealing with the kidnapping crisis that you started. Could you get around to telling us something about Chance? Kill him, bring him back, do something with Chance. It's been going on since February. Ooh, but back to Stitch. Gary makes an interesting point by saying, Y&R doesn't do suicides, but I could see Ben ending it all in the lake. Oh gosh, Gary, this really rings true to me too. The second I saw your comment, I could see it. I could almost see it. Because, didn't Stitch's sister Kelly meet a pretty tragic end? It wasn't suicide. I believe she was murdered. I think Jack killed her, right? He had no choice, but she went totally crazy, and then she met a tragic end, and there was something very sad about her, and sad about her death, and you could tell, yes, it was mental illness and depression, and it just was so sad and so tragic. And I feel like those final scenes with Stitch, presuming they're final scenes, were tragic, and there was something about it that was like, this guy, there's something real deep and dark there. And yeah, I could almost see finding out that Stitch ended it. I don't think Y&R will go there. I think you're right. Y&R doesn't really do suicides, but like in terms of if this kind of had happened in reality, yeah, because he's gonna feel really guilty. Oh man, I mean, do you think they're gonna catch him? Do you think they're just gonna maybe haul him in for one more scene in handcuffs? We caught him, and then he's like, making his case to Abby and kind of pleading his way out the door before they haul him off to the mental institution, haul him off to Fairview. Oh. Well, here's a good question, a good hope. Diana says, I hope Y&R gives us an explanation as to how Mariah was kidnapped. Yes, so now that we know Stitch kidnapped Mariah, the question is, does Mariah know that? I mean, you could tell Abby was treading lightly. She didn't want to mention Stitch's name and cause Mariah any stress. But the question is, does Mariah already know? Was she maybe like grabbed from behind and didn't see the person? It's a really good question. I would like to know what happened to Mariah then. And also, I would like to know what's going to happen to Mariah now. Gary also says, will Mariah Copeland blow all of this off in a day, or will she be traumatized by it for the rest of her life? Yes, this is a good question. I just can see Y&R writing Stitch off quick. Are they going to write Mariah's trauma, which by all rights should be there? Are they going to write that trauma off quick too? Daisy says, since Mariah's been isolated for so long protecting the baby, I think Mariah will have a hard time separating herself as the surrogate. Yeah, Daisy, that occurred to me too, that there was so much bonding and just so much trauma that happened there that it did make me wonder if it was possible that Mariah was going to have a harder time letting go. I mean, all she's had for all those weeks was baby Bowie. And now that baby is going to be kind of taken away, which was always the intention. But how much is Abby going to want Mariah to be a part? How much is Abby going to want to help the bond that Mariah had formed with the baby? And how much is she kind of going to want Mariah to stay away so that she can be the one to start to bond with the baby? Sherrod says, I think the show is going to have Mariah suffer PPD/PTSD, which of course will cause her to break up with Tessa and lead her back to a man. The writers haven't decided yet if it will be Devon, Kevin, or Kyle. Huh. So you think that that Mariah's trauma is going to make it difficult for her to continue on with her love with Tessa? Oh, I just would assume that those two were going to have the world's happiest reunion and Tessa was going to be there to support Mariah. But you think Mariah's going to push Tessa away and then go back to a man? I mean, it kind of almost, I could see it being Devon of all. I mean, Kevin's not on the show very much, and it would only be Kyle if they recast him. But yeah, I mean, it's certainly a possibility. It just hadn't occurred to me. Kamna says, I wonder if all of this was because Y&R was intending to kill off Chance for now, and then Abby won't want the baby. In the meantime, Mariah has bonded with the baby, and then she and Tessa could keep Bowie and live happily ever after. Oh, that hadn't occurred to me either. I don't know if that Abby would not want the baby. I feel like Abby definitely wants the baby. This is what Abby wants, and Abby gets what she wants. People love doing nice things for Abby. That's what Stitch said. Abby's so great that people want to do nice things for her, like give her babies. So, yeah, I don't know, but I think that's also an interesting idea on the table. Is there any chance that at the end of this, Mariah and Tessa will end up with the baby? Or will Mariah and Tessa decide to have their own baby after this? Could be a good question. Hey, Astra says, did it stand out to anyone else that Devon was monopolizing on holding the baby? I felt like Abby should have been holding him more than anyone, but it was Devon. I may be reading too much into it, but could this be foreshadowing of Devon wanting more of a role or custody? I did notice Devon lingered a little bit, not gonna lie. I was thinking, oh, he's really taking his time. And Diana says, after Mariah gave birth, shouldn't the baby have been placed in Abby's arms? My understanding is that the first few minutes after birth are crucial in having the baby bond with the mother. Abby should have held the baby on her bare skin. She is the mother. I don't know why the baby was first held by Devon, who's the donor. Yeah, I think a lot of any of the ideal situation, it just went right out the window. Like, yeah, I think obviously Abby probably would have wanted to create that maternal, that bare skin moment. That's an interesting idea. Maybe that was part of what Abby's plan was. I mean, Mariah had all these plans. She was going to have Tessa's music playing in the birth room, and presumably she would have Tessa standing right beside her. And I mean, maybe Devon had his own plans for what he was going to do on the day of the birth, and all of that just got got thrown out the window, and it was just, nobody knows what to do. But I agree that it was interesting that it was Devon who really seemed to linger on holding the baby more so than Abby. And does that signal something for the future? Is Devon going to start to feel something more for the baby than he originally thought he would? That's certainly what Amanda was warning him about, but there are also all those contracts and stuff in place. So it's a really good question. I will say that for my part, I kept thinking that Mariah should get a chance to hold the baby. Not that Abby and Devon should not, but there was a part of me that thought, well, when's Mariah going to get her chance? Like, she did most of the work. I think after everything she's been through, seeing the healthy baby, holding the healthy baby should have been her reward. But I can also see why Abby wouldn't want to send the wrong message by just handing the baby first over to Mariah. It's very strange. I mean, you know, it's very gray, you know. I mean, the motherly bond. I mean, in a physical sense, Mariah is the mother, but in this emotional sense, and later in the physical sense, now in the physical sense, Abby becomes the mother. So there was always potential for this story to become really raw and really interesting and really kind of groundbreaking in a way we're sort of exploring things that we haven't explored as much on the show. But it just, I don't know, it all kind of got just, everything got tossed onto the wall, and it all got really muddy for me, and I think made me enjoy the story less. But maybe now's the point where the story really starts. Maybe now's the point where we really dig into those emotional connections. This writing team has been good at character building, so maybe we will start to see the characters start to really shine what their motives are, what their intentions are, what type of relationship they want to have with the baby. Maybe now's where it gets icky, sticky, and we get that drama moving forward. Robbie says, I really wish Tessa was with Victor, Devon, and Ray when they discovered Mariah's phone in Stitch's room. Yeah, it was definitely very like, the girls kind of sat on the sideline. Like, those three guys did kind of want to be the mans. They wanted to be the mans, and they wanted to, you know, just do the discoverance. And I did kind of get the sense of like, well, that they were kind of telling the girls to sit tight. Like, no, Sharon and Tessa, you just stay there at the coffee house and wait for us. No, Abby, you don't do anything. You just wait here at the mansion like a sitting duck. When your crazy ex is out there and we know he did it. Yeah. And Sherrod says, all I'm going to say about that delivery scene is that Abby and Devon was more intimate with Mariah than Tessa, her girlfriend, has been for over a year. The writers made the choice not to have Tessa by Mariah's side in her hour of need, and it's inexcusable. There is no reason she could not have been the one to find Mariah. She was the only one that believed in Mariah, that Mariah was in trouble. Yet they had Devon, the ex-boyfriend / donor, be there by her side. Yeah, man. I mean, I understand Sharon not being there. She's the mom. She hasn't been a huge part of this story. Sharon didn't really emotionally check in on this even until 2 weeks ago. But Tess has been emotionally connected to this the whole time. Why wasn't Tessa part of the Discovery team? It's a good question. Is it an intentional choice? Yes. I mean, it has to be. If there was an intent to show Mariah and Tessa's bond, then she would have been there. She would have been the one to rush in and rescue. Why not? Why not? I mean, visually, maybe they were just trying to show what the future conflict will be, Mariah, Devon, Abby. I'm not sure, but there's no really good reason why Mariah couldn't have had the joy of knowing that she delivered the baby, have the joy of knowing that she had been rescued, and on top of it all, have the joy of being reunited with her true love. There's no reason, though, that can't be top of the agenda list for next week. You know Tessa's going to be there. I'm assuming that Mariah and the baby are both going to be taken to the hospital, and Tessa's going to be there. So I think that is still coming, and maybe Tessa was absent from this part of it so that they can get one-on-one focus next week. I hope so. Hey, Sue W. says, double props to Melissa Ordway for not breaking character and staying beautifully believable as she kept peering under Mariah's modesty sheets. I don't know how she kept a straight face. Oh, the whole delivery thing with the sheet. I mean, they did what they had to do. I mean, you're going to show a birth on daytime. I don't know how to make it believable. I mean, the fact that Mariah was in the robe the whole time was what throwing me off. She was just like covered. She had on probably, I don't know, maybe they were trying to show if she had no clothes on under the robe or, a nightgown dress type. But the fact that she was all bundled up in that robe, I kept thinking she has got to be so hot. She's in labor. She's doing this physical job and she's got this long sleeve robe on her. But yeah, I thought the Abby peeking under the towel, it had to be awkward for the actors because it was awkward to watch. Oh, let's switch a little bit of gear here. Daisy says, I love that Victor was happy. He's a grandfather again. He needs a bright moment before he has to rescue his company from Ashland. I would love it, though, more if Victor and his sons were rescuing Newman Enterprises from the dastardly Ashland if Victoria discovered what Ashland's real plans are and then stops him from taking her legacy, her father's company, right out from under her. Victoria sees it coming. She saves the day. I would love a twist like that. Oh, yeah, that's a really good point. Victoria saves the day. We're looking in all directions for who's going to be the one to save Victoria, but maybe she'll save that day herself. Oh, this is so good. Sherrod says, I wonder if the rich older woman that Ashland Locke was involved with in Paris could be Dina Mergeron. Holy crapola. When I saw this comment, I was like, ooh, ooh. But Superplex swoops in and says, not possible. The woman referred to as the mentor in Ashland's life died many years ago before Ashland got his start as a luminary in the business world. Remember, it was her death that availed Ashland the opportunity to start his media empire. Oh, all right. I think you're right, but darn, that would have been an intriguing twist. Especially, I think we had Dina on the brain because of Traci's story. Well, hey, on the same, Victoria saves herself note, Tony says, Ashland is tricking Victoria, not exactly sure how. Victoria is tricking Ashland, not exactly sure how. They are both plotting something with and against each other. The outrageous wedding plans, I don't think it will happen. Victoria just wants to push how far it might go. Something's going on there. I don't think either of them plan to go through with the wedding. Or they both plan to go through with the wedding, hoping to end it and come out with all of everything. Ooh, I love that, Tony. And Leslie says, I would really love it if Victoria is secretly investigating Ashland herself and beats the men to the punch. Oh, this is a good idea. I like both of these. I really like the idea that Victoria is playing Ashland while Ashland is playing Victoria, Tony, because, that is like where it all started. We started seeing Victoria making phone calls around Ashland pretty early when they started talking about who was going to buy the, Locke Media or whatever his company was that Adam and Victor ended up getting. So, yeah, I think there's a lot there that would be interesting. If the twist would be that Victoria knew all along and Victoria can come out very smart, very savvy. But we have to be careful not to anticipate twists. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think we need to learn our lessons from what happened with Stitch, and we need to know that Y&R's playing it straight. I think what it looks like on the surface is going to be what it ends up being. Ashland is trying to he knows he's got some skeletons in his closet. He knows he's playing Victoria. He knows the reporters are sniffing around. He's trying to do some proactive stuff, telling Victoria about the woman in Paris. And the fact that it's an older woman and then he inherited her, bought her companies or whatever. There's sort of a very logical through line there that he killed her for her companies, and that's just going to be what it is. And whether or not Victoria's got something on the side that's to mitigate that, or if she's doing some investigation on the side, I think that would be fantastic. So it's probably not true. Cynical much? Okay, well, let's go to a happy place. T. Nicole says, I never know I needed Traci on my screen until she's there. Traci makes me feel better just watching her. She just is sunshine. I know, and when she had her little teacup and she was just watching Jack read the book, and she was taking satisfaction because she knew this would please him. She knew this was just what Jack needed. Victoria says, Traci is just what the doctor ordered for Jack, giving him a peek at her draft on her fictional story of Dina's early time in Paris brought a laugh to his face and tears to his eyes. I loved how the script let us see how time passed and Traci's delight in seeing her new project hit its mark. A very sweet moment between brother and sister. Yes. Leslie also says, I loved the music while Jack was reading Traci's new novel. It was like a rom-com movie. Oh, I didn't notice the music, but I'm sure someone else did. So that's a nice little comment. I usually do appreciate the music on the show, but I can't pull that up from my memory. Maybe I was so starstruck by Traci's beautiful face. Victoria says, Jack's light green pocket square makes sense. The two women in his life were wearing shades of green this week, Sally and Phyllis. Will he decide he coordinates with the emerald green or the dark green? I hope he switches it out for gold and reignites his former flame for Gloria, thus bringing fun to my screen. Oh, you know I love that. First of all, Victoria, it's just so astute of you that you noticed that visual cue, because I can guarantee you it was on purpose. They're styling these scenes to look like a set. So if Jack was wearing a green pocket square, Sally was wearing emerald, and Phyllis was wearing light green. It's absolutely done on purpose to create a visual cohesion. It's just very smart that you picked up on that visual cue, and thank you for bringing it back to us because I didn't see it. So I think that's lovely. And also, I 100% agree that he should switch it out for Gloria Gold. Switch it out for Glow. Jack and Gloria together is just fun. That's what Jack needs. Fun. He does not need more of this kind of drama where he's not somebody's number one. Jack's never going to be Phyllis's number one. I'm sorry. It's just, unless they change it. I mean, Chelsea became not the love of Adam's life after many years as she was. Sharon was not the love of Adam's life when Chelsea came along. So, I mean, it's just like they switch it out wherever they want it. But in my mind, Jack's just, he's always going to play second banana in Phyllis's romance with Nick. So I'm not looking forward to that triangle. I was fine with Jack and Sally. I was fine. But now that it's over, I just would rather him not have to deal with the hassle. And I feel like we got to give Gloria a chance. Gloria has been a real hassle in the past, but there's something about the idea of Jack and Gloria as two legacy characters of the show coming to bring us some comedy and some romance and some fun. I would just love to see Jack and Gloria spinning around the mansion, dancing with each other, having drinks. I mean, you know, it's weird that she was married to his father, but they both, you know, they've been together. It's already been weird. It can't be anything more weird now. They can have that connection through John. They can talk about John, put a freaking portrait of John above the Abbott Mansion mantle. It makes the Abbott Mansion fun. It would keep the Abbott Mansion in our forefront if Gloria lived there. And throw a leopard print blanket on the back of the couch or something. Like, there's a lot Gloria can bring to the show. And I don't know what Judith Chapman's availability is, but, I mean, give it to us old timers. Maybe she doesn't trend well with the younger viewers or something, and that's why they won't do it. But, I mean, give her a chance. And give us that. Every time Gloria's on screen, I get lots of great comments about her. So, yeah, now's the time. Jack is single. He is ready. She's got this new job. She is proving that she's capable. I mean, she's working at JCV. Is it a Jabot company or is it a Fenmore's company? Lauren hired her. But I think it's a partnership, right? JCV is the Jabot collective. So technically, Gloria's working with Jack now. So it's not too far-fetched that the two would reconnect. Just let them be fun. Put the drama in other places. Just let them be fun. All right, I'm done. I'm telling you who my favorite coupling would be, but now I'm going to suffer through y'all telling me who your favorite coupling would be, which would be 71% of people wanting Adam and Sally together. 71% of you want Adam and Sally. 29%, like me, say, no thank you. But Y&R viewer 123 says yes to Sally and Adam. Match made in heaven or hell. Haha. Marianne V also says, I really like Sally and Adam. Better than Adam and Sharon. I think they complement each other. The outsiders together can do many interesting things. I think it's funny that Chloe is trying to warn Sally away from Adam. Oh, that isn't going to work. It never does. Yeah, Jonathan says, I think Adam and Sally would be good for each other. They're both entertaining and have creative ideas. Also, I hope that good things come to Adam. I feel like someone like Sally will make him a better man. I also have a crush on Courtney Hope, the woman who plays Sally Spectra. Ooh, Jonathan's got a crush on Courtney. She's very beautiful. I mean, she really, really is. She just has a natural beauty. Her bone structure is like, whoa. Her lips are like, whoa. Her eyes are striking. Her eyebrows are like natural looking, and she is a stunner. I think the way I can understand why, the way she styles herself and holds herself would be very attractive. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like somewhere in the last couple of weeks I got soured on Sally. And I think that's why I'm not as excited about the Adam and Sally reunion. I need some work on Sally to be done. I just think with the whole partnership with Tara and the whole getting Summer out of the way, it wasn't fun, Sally. I want Sally to be fun. Adam for me has changed probably within the last couple of months, and I now enjoy him more than I used to. The recast didn't sit with me right away, but over time, I really do accept Mark Grossman as Adam, and he brings a totally different flavor to the role than the other Adams. So I feel like I like Adam better than I like Sally, and so there's a part of me that probably feels, I don't know, just a little bit like, I don't want to see her chew him up and spit him back out. I don't know, but I mean, we'll see. Sandra says, I vote yes for Sally and Adam. I think Sally's too much woman for Adam, but I'd love to see him try. I'd also like to see the look on Sharon's face when she eventually sees the two of them together. That's where the drama is, Sandra. It's what will Sharon's reaction to Adam and Sally be? That's the question. Ooh, Ray better look out. Ray better keep one eye on Sharon when Sharon sees Adam and Sally at the Newman Media launch party. I don't know why Sharon and Ray would be there, but they will be. Diane K says, Adam and Sally are a much better story than Jack and Sally. Adam loves a con girl. Yeah, I think he does. That's very true. I just want Sally to be a fun con girl again. Like, I loved Sally on Bold and the Beautiful. I was so excited when she came to Y&R, and she's just kind of been a miss for me. I need to try to reset my brain, just forget about everything from the past. I'm going to have to do that in a couple different places this week, so I'm just going to have to try to apply it to Sally, forget the past, wipe it clean, and then just get myself into Adam and Sally, because that's where it's going, whether I like it or not. But I'll say TB84 agrees with me, saying, I just don't feel the vibe. Sorry. Call me a weirdo. I mean, they both are with shady pasts and both look steamy, but I don't feel it. I don't feel it either, TB84. But I'm gonna try. Never stopped me from trying before. Well, different topic. Victoria says, I wish Y&R would write more drama for their teen set. Right now, Faith and Moses are just too darn cute. I wish they would soar as Johnny and Katie along with Christian, and Johnny could find out that Chelsea's his biological mother, and Christian could find out that Adam and Sage are his biological parents. This would cause possible fallout and acting out. adulting is a good idea. Those kids are all in the same age range, and Y&R's gonna do it. They just got to pick their time and their story correctly, but I bet they will do it. I don't know if it'll be soon, but doing it when Faith and Moses are on the screen right now would be really good timing. I like it. I like that idea. I'm not in high school anymore. I'm not a youngin' anymore, but I like, I like seeing the teen scene. I still enjoy that, and it certainly is absent right now. Well, T. Nicole says, is Elena going to have a breakdown? This is the second time she talked about her double shifts and her being exhausted. Sherrod says, why do I get the feeling that Elena is not going to like that Nate recommended her for Ask MD to Lily? She was just complaining to Amanda about being overworked. This is the beginning of the end for Nate and Elena's relationship. Oh, okay, so I had a different interpretation of it. I thought that we were being told that Elena is exhausted, not because she's going to have a breakdown, although it could have gone in that direction, but as soon as Nate recommended Elena for Ask MD Now, I thought, oh, well, that would replace her job at the hospital and also put an end to her discomfort about them working together. Because remember last week or the week before, Elena was very uncomfortable about the fact that Nate was her boss. So I was thinking that maybe if she just quit the hospital and instead took on an advisory role with Ask MD Now, then she would, stop the double shifts, and then she wouldn't have the conflict of interest with Nate being her boss. But that's interesting. I don't know. Maybe it could go in a different direction that caused conflict between them. Oh, well, let's just end on this. Victoria says, since Lola left, there hasn't been much talk about the amazing food at Society. However, the fruit salad that Nikki had looked so good, I wanted to dip my fork in. What a nice, yummy mix. Oh, I saw the fruit salad too. But how about those big strawberry slices? I mean, how much would you just love to see Melody Thomas Scott open wide and shove one of those big strawberry slices in her mouth? I would die. I would die like when Victor ate the cracker. Because you can't cut a strawberry that's served in a fruit salad. And those strawberries look pretty big. The fruit salad is meant to be bite-sized. And if you even try to eat that gigantic strawberry, you're going to end up getting strawberry juice all down your chin, it's all down your summer dress, all over on your wedding planning notes. I don't know. I think you're right, Victoria. Things at Society have really gone downhill since Lola left. I think I'd like to speak to the manager, please. Oof. That was a big one. That was a good one. I had to set my mind for this Y&R chat. I was like, I'm going to have to be on point. This is going to be a big week. I had a ton of comments. I mean, way more comments than usual at the website. Everybody was having to weigh in, and the interest level in the show was definitely higher this week. It was like a sweeps week. And I thought it appropriate that I had Catherine's picture up here beside me for this week. I mean, on the week where all of everything's went down, with Abby living in her house still, and Mariah giving birth to the baby, and Stitch coming in as the world's most obvious kidnapper, I thought I should have Catherine Chancellor here up on my shoulder. So I hope you guys enjoyed seeing her. If you're watching the video, if you are watching or listening to the podcast, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But I now have a beautiful copy of Not Young, Still Restless by Jean Cooper above my shoulder here. She's like the angel and the devil on both sides of my shoulder. But it felt especially appropriate to have her there this week. The portrait of Catherine is always looking down upon the action at the Chancellor Mansion, so I felt like this week she needed to be looking down upon the Y&R Chat action. But that's just the beginning of the action, because the real good stuff starts when you guys go to yrchat.com to leave your comments about this Y&R chat, or about the poll, or about anything and everything that happens throughout the week. I love seeing you guys participating there, so please use it. And I will be back next Sunday to hopefully have some real good resolutions that make me feel all good and all warm and all fuzzy about the show, and we can just smile and laugh and have a blast. I'll see you guys then. I love ya. Bye.